Welcome in to the Punt and Pass podcast. I'm your host, Drew Butler, joined alongside by my co-host, Jake Fromm. Be sure to follow us on social media. We are at Punt and Pass on X and Instagram. I'm at Drew Butler. He's at Fromm Jake. Always puntandpass.com for the number one destination in all of college football. YouTube channel's popping off as well. Go subscribe on YouTube, /Punt and Pass, or at Punt and Pass in the search bar. What a weekend of college football. Cannot believe the action that went down starting on Friday night. We'll touch on that. Of course, what happened between the hedges, an all-time shootout between two top 10 teams in Ole Miss and Georgia. A great game. It was the third weekend of October, so Tennessee and Alabama got after it. Jake, it was great. You and I were together. How are you, brother?
Man, doing great. It was an awesome weekend for college football. Crazy, hectic, all the things in between. The Georgia game was just absolutely electric. I wish we could have stayed for that fourth quarter.
I know.
And, had to do other duties, other jobs. But, man, what a great weekend. Dawgs win, always better to sit and talk about it on the pod. So can't wait.
Yes, and for the second straight Sunday after a college football Saturday, a historic, tradition-rich college football program moves on from their head coach in the middle of the season. Last week, of course, it was Penn State and James Franklin. On Sunday, Florida fired head coach Billy Napier. So we will touch on that, of course, a little bit later, but the coaching carousel is only going to continue to get crazier. Dominoes are falling. It's going to be a wild ride. I think the total count so far, Jake, and keep in mind we're in week 9 of college football, it's like $112 million of buyout have already been put forth for fired college football coaches. So absolutely crazy times indeed. Hey, this episode of Punt and Pass presented to you by our awesome partners over at Solomon Brothers Jewelers. You're about to blink, it's going to be Halloween. You blink again, it's Thanksgiving, then Christmas and the holidays are right around the corner. Solomon Brothers Jewelers has the solution for all of your gifting problems for your significant other. Guys, Jake and I know how tough it is. If you want to make it easy, head on over to Solomon Brothers. It's as simple as that. 3 awesome locations, Buckhead, Alpharetta, Sharpsburg. Go in, tell them Punt and Pass sent you. Tell them Drew and Jake sent you. You can get up to 10% off your jewelry purchase. Check them out online, SolomonBrothers.com. Check them out on social media at Solomon Brothers. Any price point, I promise you, diamonds, jewelry, accessories, watches, they have it all. Jake Fromm even sent me an Instagram post of some Rolex watches that are going down at Solomon Brothers Jewelers. They've got it all. SolomonBrothers.com, at Solomon Brothers on Instagram. Go into one of their 3 amazing locations, perfect staff, amazing showrooms. They got a full bar in there, TVs with sports on. It's the best, I promise you. Thank you to Solomon Brothers. And this episode of Punt and Pass is brought to you by mi amigo Umberto and Umberto Injury Law. If you've been hurt in an accident and need a team that fights for you like we fight on the field, Umberto Injury Law is here for you. Umberto and his team know what it takes to win, and they'll stand by your side every step of the way. Visit UmbertoInjuryLaw.com to learn more, or call them today 24/7 whenever you need them. They'll win for you. They've won for me. I promise you, they're right here in Atlanta. 770-888-8901. 770-888-8901. That's UmbertoInjuryLaw.com. Okay, let's go 3 and out. The first story that we have to touch on, of course, was the incredible football game that happened in Sanford Stadium. Number 5 Ole Miss taking on number 9 Georgia. Georgia wins 43-35 in an absolute thriller. This was, would you call it a heavyweight boxing match, Jake? I mean, it was big swing after big swing. There was no defense seemingly for 3 quarters. Georgia's defensive struggles continued. They allowed 5 touchdowns on Ole Miss's first 5 possessions. And then the fourth quarter rolled around and the Dogs just took over. Georgia wins the fourth quarter 17-0. Georgia had around 150 yards of total offense in the fourth quarter alone. They held Ole Miss to under 10 yards of offense. And let's put some major respect on Gunner Stockton's name. He was named the SEC Offensive Player of the Week. 5 total touchdowns, 4 passing, 1 rushing. Jake, We got a bunch to touch on, but man, Gunnar Stockton is for real. Heisman chatter is beginning. This dude took over the game. He is a baller.
Absolutely. Gunnar Stockton. And then I also want to throw some credit where credit is deserved, and he has earned it because he has been in his bag, I believe, pretty much the entirety of this football season, and that is Mike Bobo.
Yeah.
Coach Bobo has been dialing it up on offense. He has been kind of running with a skeleton unit on the offensive line. These guys are banged up. There's different guys rotating through, playing different positions, and they have still found a way to run the ball effectively, efficiently. And then also he has brought Gunnar along, and whatever Gunnar needs to do to win the football game, he just shows up and he does it. He doesn't say anything about it. And, man, it just goes out and balls out. If it's going toe-to-toe in this slugfest against Ole Miss like this game was, hey, whatever it is, hey, man, I'll throw for a bunch of touchdowns. I'll also run a touchdown as well while eyeing the dude down from 20 yards out. It doesn't matter. He is just a ball player, and he is the juice for this football team. When Gunnar gets rolling, just the rest of the team rallies behind that, and they really get going as well.
Yeah, you and I were doing our pregame show on Atlanta News First, live in Athens at Creature Comforts. And I want to give you credit because this was a great broadcasting moment by you. This is your third year of broadcasting. You've gotten so much better. I'll just say that. I think everybody will agree. You're awesome. And you made a statement, which I looked and I was like, that was really, really good. You said Gunnar Stockton is like a chameleon for this offense. He can do whatever he needs to do, whether it is those really grinded out slugfest games, much like the Auburn game, or Tennessee and Ole Miss. You want to go? Let's go. 348 total yards of offense, 5 total touchdowns, no turnovers. I can do that too. And I think it's important to note, as you just said, Coach Mike Bobo can call plays in both styles of games, which makes Georgia really, really hard to defend and prepare for. Kirby Smart talked about it before the game. Our friends over at UGA Sports have a great cut from his post-game press conference. He discussed the elite offensive performance that went down on Saturday.
What does it say about this offense that even when the defense was struggling to get stops, it seemed like they stayed consistent and continued to put together drive after drive?
Yeah, I think that's the hardest part for us, is that who we are is that we've talked about it, this methodical, bludgeon you, heavyweight boxer that just wants to box with you, and try to knock you out in the fourth. That's hard to do when that scoreboard's lighting up, because every now and then, everything's not perfect. And all of a sudden you end up in a third down, and all of a sudden you got to punt, or you got to go for it on 4th and 1 or 2. You can't live in that world. You to play like we're playing offensively, which in this game was incredible. You got to get some defensive stops, and we didn't do that well.
Lawson Lucky with 3 touchdowns today. Obviously brings a lot statistically, but from a culture standpoint, what does he bring to this program?
This guy, man, he speaks up in every meeting. He loves the place. His dad played here. He never complains. He doesn't gripe. He just keeps on working, man. He's got some of the best toughness in our program, never complains. And, he probably statistically wasn't having the year he wanted to have, but he never pouted. He never complained.
How about Lawson Lucky, who Kirby Smart's talking about that right there? I think in those chameleon type games, Jake, and this one where Georgia said we got to go get some points, something really potentially damaging happened on the third play of the game. Colby Young, Georgia's wide receiver, big body, one of Gunnar Stockton's favorite threats. It's reported after the game that he has a fractured tibia or fibula. That remains had to have been announced. Kirby might have announced it today. But after Colby Young went out, man, the tight ends got going. Oscar Delp and Lawson Lucky, 6 catches, 3 touchdowns. What a great performance by the tight ends. Finally, Georgia got the tight ends going. Jake, what does that do for a quarterback?
Yeah, Lawson and Oscar both got rolling. Just felt like Oscar was getting all these passes, these wheel routes in the middle of the field. And then as soon as they got down the red zone, hey, it was Lawson that was getting dialed up, and he got open. He was able to capitalize on that. 3 touchdowns for Lawson. That is awesome. As a quarterback, you got to think, too, for the tight end position. Generally, those are some shorter throws. They're bigger bodies, and taking advantage of a matchup, usually against a safety. They're a bigger body, and they'll use their body, especially in the red zone. And then, in the middle of the field, being able to run away from a linebacker and use their speed to their advantage. So whenever the tight end becomes kind of that comfort blanket for a quarterback, that is a great sign, man. You just think about Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, right?
Yeah.
And that is just a great duo. When that group and that tight end is playing with a lot of field, there's a lot of space in the middle of the field, and it can be very advantageous for an offense. And man, those tight ends, they've been grinding it out in the run game, been doing a lot of really good things. They're being asked to do a lot in the run game, and it's good to see them reap some benefits and get some rewards by catching some balls and getting some touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, the versatility of the tight ends. Oscar Delp can get downfield, man, and then Lawson Lucky being a threat in the red zone. That is absolutely huge. How about Dylan Bell? I mean, Dylan Bell has stepped up his game big time the last couple of weeks. He had an incredible catch, contested catch, late in the fourth quarter. There was under 5 minutes left. Georgia was
borderline play of the game.
I think so too.
I mean, this
12.
This iced it out. I mean, a very, very aggressive play and execution from Gunner's standpoint to go after this matchup. Yeah, it's a very low chance, that you just complete go routes, man. I mean, I would imagine probably a 1 in 3 chance, right around the 30-40% mark of catching go balls. But we've seen Gunner do this against Tennessee on 4th and 7. He has a lot of trust in his guys to go up and make plays, and being able to ice the game out in that fashion to Dylan Bell. Please continue and go ahead, Drew. Sorry I cut you off. I mean, I was just so excited to see Gunner,
absolutely,
man, just with so much conviction, being able to say, hey, I know this is a low percentage play, but I trust my guy that he's going to go out and make this play for me, and he's going to ice this game, and we're going to win this football game. That is just a great sign mentally that you're seeing from Gunner that he's playing with. Hey, that is double thumbs up from me.
And the execution. One, a great play call. They found man-to-man coverage on the outside. There was no safety over the top. Gunner threw a perfect pass. Dylan Bell made an amazing catch. Georgia was up 5, I think, at the time. And this iced it. It was 40-35. Georgia would go on to get a field goal to go up 8. Gunner Stockton made an incredible hold on the field goal as well. The snap was a little low. He trapped it. Peyton Woodring stayed with it and made a kick. But Kirby Smart was asked after the game about that play and catch by Dylan Bell. Here he is talking about how important of a play that was for the outcome of the game.
How about that throw to Dylan? What did you see on that and his catch? Describe that play for me. For Dylan Bell.
Yeah, it was a little double move. He made a great move and a great catch. The guy, I thought they were going to call a flag on him, but he made a great catch, and it was amazing.
Gunnar, what was that connection like? Go for it on 4th down there late, or when y'all talked about it, was there an indication that y'all would think about that Kirby was going to go for it, or was it kicked the whole time?
I don't know. That's Coach Smart.
What was that connection like with Lawson Lucky tonight? Why was the connection so strong?
Yeah, it was a great night. He definitely. He works like crazy, and I'm glad it paid off for him, and he's a great guy.
What's it like being in a game like this as an offense, kind of a shootout, maybe the first offense to blink kind of loses, and it kind of having to be Ole Miss tonight?
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't have to punt. It's pretty special when it's like that.
What was Brett doing all night?
I'm glad he was doing nothing.
So he was just chilling out? Did he say anything to y'all or anything?
No.
Connor, there's questions about, what does Georgia have a quarterback this season? You guys just beat the number 5 team in the nation. You just talked about the punter not having to kick it all. I mean, how do you feel about you stepping up on a stage like this?
Yeah, that was Gunner Stockton. Man, a few words, but he gets right to the point. Hey, it was great. Dylan was awesome. His amazing catch. Yeah, the game was awesome. I'm glad we won. I mean, he can say whatever he wants if he continues to put on performances like that. He mentioned Brett Thorson, Georgia's punter. No punts in the game. When you have no punts and no turnovers, the offense is absolutely cooking. It's just so great to see those guys, the resiliency that they have. And you look across social media, Jake, after the game or even on Sunday, talking heads, national talking heads, Kirk Herbstreit, Joel Klatt, guys over at Barstool like Brandon Walker, they just simply say Georgia is without question the most resilient team in the country, and you absolutely have to cut the head off the snake to knock out the Georgia Bulldogs. The only team seemingly that can do that is Alabama year after year, unfortunately. But it brings up a point. Georgia's coaching staff, Georgia's players, they don't assume anything. They know anything can happen throughout a game, but they also know they have got to do certain things in order to grind out and find ways to win. Kirby Smart was asked about that, and he even talked about how they don't assume anything at any point of the game. Jared, go ahead and roll that.
How seriously did you consider going for it on the fourth, I think 2 or 3 near the end of the game?
I want to. I believe in winning the game. I believe in winning the game when you can win the game. And, they needed a touchdown. And, everybody assumes, I guarantee you analytics is going to say that I should have gone for it because we win the game on that play. And by putting it in their hands, and everybody assumes that the field goal's made. See, that's the assumption that you've made the field goal. And we had a tough snap there that Gunner gets low, gets up, and Peyton gets it through. But you can't assume that. Like I want my offense who's clicking, who's rolling, who's 6 for 6, who's 12 for 12 in the second half throwing. It's 4th and 2. Go win the game. I really believe in that. But what got me was the stops the defense had. Stops the defense had gave me faith that whether we made the field goal or not, we could go out and stop them. And being at home and then having to go out in that environment was really hard in that 2 minute. We lived that last year at their place, trying to play 2 minute. Guys are jumping the snap count. You got great. You didn't rush. The only time we got rushed all day was in the 2 minute.
Yeah, he said it right there. I'm glad they kicked the field goal. You can't assume that they're going to make it. You know what people say about making assumptions, and you do not want to do that. Gunner Stockton, the starting quarterback who's your holder, you probably don't get as many reps as you would throughout the week. That's just the reality of the situation. If your punter was the holder, because you guys are together all day, every single day, he trapped that snap. He got the hold up. Peyton Woodring stuck with it. Boom, it's an 8-point game. Let's focus on the defense a little bit, okay? Because the defense for the first 3 quarters, Jake, maddening. Frustrating. Give credit to Ole Miss. Trinidad Chambliss is a baller. They were calling up stuff all game long. Lane Kiffin was absolutely in his bag. They had no answers. And then the fourth quarter starts, and it just completely flipped on its head. What did you see from Lane Kiffin to have so much success in the first 3 quarters? And then what did Georgia's defense do so differently when it turned into the fourth quarter?
Yeah, well, they finally got a stop on 3rd down. And it starts on 1st and 2nd down, getting them into longer 3rd down tries. It's just a matter of statistics, basically, at that point. And the Alabama game was a huge anomaly. But, to be firing on all cylinders for 60 minutes of football is extremely hard to do. Georgia's defense finally got a little bit of a pass rush there and got Trinidad Chambliss having to make decisions a little bit sooner. Got a few, inaccurate balls. We were able to make plays on those balls. And I think the crowd got into it as well. On that 2 minute drive late in the fourth quarter. We heard so much about it, from our show and the guys we talked to after the game. That was one of the loudest just times that they remember being in the stadium. That was a big time moment, a big time football game. The defense was able to finally get off the field, make a stop, settle in, whatever it was. I don't know what it is, but we can almost bank on it that the Georgia defense is going to settle in at some point in the second half.
Yeah.
Get their stops, and as long as the offense is able to stay in it and be within a reaching distance, they give themselves a chance.
You said something to me after the game. You're like, dude, Lane Kiffin, he would go swing play, run play, shot. Like, he knew what he was doing. Yep. He had Georgia's defense on their heels. Talk about that in the rhythm that Trinidad Chambliss, Lane Kiffin, what they were doing with their game plan and execution of that game plan to have Georgia's defense just lost for 3 quarters.
Yeah, so let's start with Georgia's defense. Georgia's defense, all they've heard week in and week out is you have to get to the quarterback. We have to get sacks. We have to put some pressure on the quarterback. Okay, so you have that on one side, and then you have Ole Miss's style of offense, which is a very fast-paced style of offense. So you already kind of have that factor working for Ole Miss on that side, and then they would just go quick game, shot, perimeter run, quick game, and then they would wrinkle in these shots throughout the drive. They would get the defensive line tired. You get on the defensive lineman's nerves, right? They get off the ball, they go to make their move, and the ball's already out. another play, man, they get up, they make their move, ball's already out. Or now they're running to the sideline, right, to go rally and make a tackle on one of these perimeter sweeps. And then it's tiring for a defensive lineman. It just aggravates them. It gets on their nerves. And then what's happening is Ole Miss is able to have all of the time in the world to take this 5-step drop, hitch, ball, and able to make and execute on these deeper balls and concepts they were able to do. So, man, Lane was dialing it up, and it starts with first and second down execution. But man, that is an excellent way to get in the head of a defensive lineman and get on their last nerves. And you just know as a quarterback, hey, I have time because they're just not getting home.
Yeah, they couldn't get a stop on third down. Finally, they get one. The defense starts believing. Kirby Smart said it after the game. Once they got that stop, the sun was going down. It got a little bit cooler. Yeah. The fans finally woke up. Nobody was leaving the stadium because it was such a close game. I mean, halftime score was 21-20. Georgia gets a field goal right before half. Hey, we're fine. Defense should be able to make the adjustments. Of course, they couldn't. Third play of the second half, 75-yard touchdown.
Yeah, Georgia's defense tried to cover zero. Hey, let's switch something up. Let's bring the house. It's what happens when you go cover zero and you don't get home. Ball gets out. You are one-on-one with whoever is guarding you. Hey, man, the second hardest thing to do in sports is to make an open field tackle. Me and Roquan Smith were talking about that on the sideline during the game. I was getting to hear from him about how he's viewing, when he's playing linebacker, how he's, using the sideline out as friends. Hey, there's no reason to rush, right? I'm going to let this guy make a move, let him be stupid and just take him where he wants to go. But hardest thing to do in sports is to hit a 95-mile-an-hour baseball. That's, in my opinion, second thing, make an open field tackle. And that's what happens when you don't get home, cover zero. Yeah. You make one guy miss, and you're off to the races.
It was incredible. I mean, a heavyweight battle, no question about it. Before we move on, putting a bow on this game, Georgia entering a bye week, Florida, of course, entering a bye week. They're dealing with a bunch. We're going to get to that in just a second. Gunnar Stockton for Heisman. Is that for real? Is it something that could become a conversation piece in the second half of the season? Kirby Smart was asked about it after the game. Jared, is Gunnar a Heisman candidate?
First off, he's got a great coach. He gets coached the right way. Mike Bobo and Brandon Streeter, they spend a lot of time with those quarterbacks. The play Gunnar made today, now guys, he took it to another level because they got a blitz to tackle the back, they got a guy covering the tight end of the flat, and they got a guy running right at him. He pulled the ball, beat the guy blitzing, and then ran for a touchdown. Had some huge scrambles, great throws on time, darts, like the throw to Dylan Bell. Let's give credit where credit's due. He's wired for these type of moments because he's tough, and his team believes in him. I didn't get to talk about it. This kid couldn't practice on Tuesday. He literally couldn't practice. His oblique. The shots he took at Auburn, he's beat up, and we're like, okay, we won't use you in the quarterback run game. We'll give you, coach, I want to run it. I want to run it. My team needs to see me running, and he did. And we were concerned he wouldn't be able to go, and there was no flinching him.
Yeah, the situational dual threat capabilities from Gunnar Stockton. The statistics say it's elite, Jake. We'll get to Carson Beck in just a little bit. No touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and a loss to an unranked opponent on Friday night. Gunnar Stockton, 5 total touchdowns against a top 5 opponent on Saturday afternoon in the ESPN ABC 3:30 game. I think if Georgia does that a couple more times, Gunnar Stockton will be in the Heisman conversation legitimately. And all preseason, you heard Kirby Smart say, we love the way he prepares. He's always in the facility. He watches a bunch of tape. The guys really respect him. And I'm like, hey, that's great. Can he play? Can he play? We saw him in the second half of the SEC championship game last year. Weird situation down at the Sugar Bowl against Notre Dame for obvious reasons and really tragic reasons. That one got out of hand in ways that I've never seen. 54 seconds, Notre Dame scored 17 points. It was over. He can play. He's wired for these moments. And I think, I like to poke fun at him being just like Mike Winchell from Friday Night Lights. And he's a man of few words, but the dude can play. He's wired for the moment. And I think just the belief that he provides for his teammates is what makes him really special.
Yeah, I think you're on the right track here. In this new age of college football, and it's about me, and NIL and how much I'm getting paid, you just forget about the genuine team dynamic of
Absolutely.
things. And, man, it just means a ton when you have guys in your huddle that genuinely want to see you succeed and want to go and accomplish hard things together.
Yeah, play for one another.
Man, and that's what's happening right now in the huddle at Georgia. The guys are looking around. It's like everybody's kind of down us. We're all a little banged up. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's bad. It doesn't matter. And we're just going to find a way to get it done. And Gunner right now is that catalyst for this team, especially for this offense. And I think just the epitome of Gunner having the oblique injury, being banged up, and saying, no, coach, hey, I want to run the ball. The team needs to see me run the ball because that's what gives them juice. They love it. And it doesn't matter. I'm going to put my body on the line for this team. And whatever way to find success, I'm going to go out and do that. I'm going to make plays when plays need to be made.
Did you hear about the oblique injury? I had no idea. I don't know if you heard about that or not earlier in the week.
I had no idea about it either. I wasn't even going to bring it up. And then, Kirby said something about it. I talked to Gunner after the game. He's like, yeah, man, like this hurts. It's a good thing it's not on his throwing side. So it's not a super huge hindrance when it comes to throwing the football. But look, an oblique injury,
it's for real.
That's something you don't want to mess with. Not at all. You could definitely make that a lot worse. So I think it's just a huge testament to him, his grit, his toughness, and he's still balling, throwing for 4, rushing for 1, 5 total touchdown game. That's that's not an MJ flu game, but man, that's pretty dang close.
Yeah, timely bye week for Georgia. Everybody has an opportunity to get healthy. Those coaches will get those guys off their feet, and they'll get ready to go down to Jacksonville to take on the Florida Gators. Hey, this episode of Punt and Pass is presented to you by our awesome partners over at Solomon Brothers Jewelers. I'm telling you, the holidays will be here way sooner than you think. Check out Solomon Brothers online, SolomonBrothers.com, at Solomon Brothers on social media. When you go into one of their 3 locations, Alpharetta, Buckhead, or Sharpsburg, tell them Punt and Pass sent you. Say Drew sent me. Say Jake sent me. You can get up to 10% off your jewelry purchase. Any price point for your holiday shopping needs or potentially an engagement ring need. Yes, Solomon Brothers has you covered. Tell them Punt and Pass sent you. You can get up to 10% off your jewelry purchase online at SolomonBrothers.com and at Solomon Brothers on social media. We've talked a lot about Gunner Stockton. He had an incredible game. On the field, protecting the quarterback is everything. Off the field, Umberto Injury Law protects their clients with the same intensity. If you've been hurt in an accident, they'll step up and defend your rights every time. The best and most personal injury attorney, workers' comp attorney in Atlanta is mi amigo Umberto. Head to UmbertoInjuryLaw.com today to see how they can help you, or call them 24/7 when you need them, and they'll win for you. You don't have to pay anything until they win for you. They won for me. I didn't pay anything. They won for me. 770-888-8901. 770-888-8901. UmbertoInjuryLaw.com. Yeah, big news broke on Sunday afternoon. Florida won. They beat Mississippi State at home. And then Florida fired their head coach, Billy Napier. Jake, his buyout is $20 million. Half is owed in 30 days. He will be getting $10 million in the next 30 days. There is no offset language in his buyout. So he will get all $20 million, even if he gets another job. Florida just made a change a couple of years ago after they canned Dan Mullen. They bring in Sunbelt Billy from University of Louisiana, and it did not go as they intended it to go. Now the Gators need to fill the void. This is a tradition-rich program. Legends like Steve Spurrier, Urban Meyer, national champions, Heisman Trophy winners, and they're struggling. And this coaching carousel this offseason, Jake, is going to be one of the most competitive we've ever seen. So the question becomes, who does Florida get? They need to swing big. They need to land a grand slam hire. Which direction do they go? It seems like Florida fans want Lane Kiffin. They think he'd be Steve Spurrier 2.0. I just have a hard time thinking Lane Kiffin wants to leave Ole Miss. What about James Franklin? James Franklin just released by Penn State. He has had success in the SEC at Vanderbilt. I'm hearing a name that's currently a head coach in the SEC, a guy with an offensive background who's turned Missouri into a legitimate contender. That would be Eli Drinkwitz. Would he be interested? But the one that I have circled, Jake, is a guy who lives in Florida. The one that I have circled, Jake, who would undoubtedly win the press conference. The one that I have circled has won a Super Bowl for a team from Florida. That would be John. What are the Florida Gators going to do, Jake Fromm?
Yeah, I mean, they are basically on the shot clock with Penn State. So you got two powerhouse programs that are trying to duke it out and find the best possible candidate for their programs. Speaking of programs, saw a tweet today riding in to the hotel, and it said, I wish I could give credit to this, but it was basically, hey, Florida is interested in Nick Saban for their coaching hire if he's interested. Anyway, Ron DeSantis.
Yes, the governor of the state of Florida.
quotes this, and he says, hey, I'm just want to be, for clarification, I'm interested in winning the lottery, right?
Yes.
And it cracked me up, made my day. What Nick Saban wants to do, he can do whatever he wants to do. Who these guys go after, I don't know, but I just know Penn State and Florida are competing against each other.
Yeah, for sure.
Going back to Lane Kiffin, and especially very timely after the loss against Georgia, is Lane Kiffin maxed out at Ole Miss? As he basically reached how high on the totem pole that he can get at Ole Miss as far as winning, a national championship. Can he really get there at Ole Miss? I don't quite know. I think the groundwork has been laid at Florida to do that. I think you'll have more money and more resources. Mm-hmm. And so I think if Kiffin wants to maybe win the big one, I think Florida is a great spot for him. So, but I would absolutely love to see John Gruden get in the mix and see John Gruden against Kirby Smart every single year. I mean, that would be awesome.
That would be awesome. And I think that's a program where John Gruden would feel like he could have an immediate impact. Do you think Florida's athletic department, the athletic association, would have any hesitancy around John Gruden given the absolute debacle that is currently happening with a former NFL head coach, potentially the greatest football coach of all time at North Carolina in Bill Belichick?
Yeah. I think overall athletic directors need to slow their roll. And I think fans need to slow their roll a little bit and not ask for overnight success.
Yeah.
Because that is just not the way the world works anymore. And, the up and down years that a lot of these NFL teams have, for a while, let's just take the Kansas City Chiefs, for example. I mean, they had a losing record. They were even for a little bit, but nobody's batting an eye. Andy Reid's job isn't up for debate, right? No, it's just like, hey, no, we're good. We're going to just chart the course, and hey, it's going to work out in the end. And so there has to be a longer leash on coaches, especially with these buyouts that are as big and astronomical as they are. And that's why Billy Napier got 4 years on his deal. I think it's crazy they fired him after a win and before a chance to give himself another year. If he could find a way to beat Georgia, he has the caliber team to do so. Yep. Find a way to beat Georgia, he gets his job for another year. So, that's probably why they ended up firing. But going to have to slow your roll. These coaches are going to have a longer leash and time to implement all the things that they want to do, because there's going to be up and downs with just your roster in recruiting and not necessarily having the guys that you need to compete at a high level.
It's interesting. I totally agree with you. And one of the other things I think it comes down to is you got to win big games. I'm not saying you have to go undefeated. You got to prove that you can go toe-to-toe with the best of the best. James Franklin got fired from Penn State, having won over 100 games, having been a play away from the national championship a year ago, having been the second most winningest coach in that program's history, of course, behind Joe Paterno. He got fired because he was 4-21 against top 10 teams during his tenure at Penn State. For comparison, the Georgia Bulldogs have won 10 games against top 5 opponents in the last 5 years alone. That's the most in college football. Georgia gets up and they compete in the elite level against the best of the best programs across the country. Going back to the coaching carousel conversation, these elite programs are open. Believe me when I say this, some of these vacancies are going to be filled by active head coaches at big-time schools. Like, what if Florida wants to go after Lincoln Riley at SC? I don't think that they wouldn't call him and say, get down here. We need you in the SEC. We think that we give you more resources than Southern Cal can. So it's just going to continue to be perpetuated, and it's going to be wild. There's no question about it. We will, of course, keep tabs on what is happening with the University of Florida head coaching search. All right, let's go around the SEC and college football. We'll update the top 25 rankings as well. We'll start with the Friday night action. Number 2, Miami loses to unranked Louisville 24-21. Carson Beck threw 4 interceptions. Jake, after the game, the last interception of the game that iced it for Louisville, Carson Beck was talking about it. He was asked a question about it, and he threw his receiver under the bus. He did. Now, he said first, yeah, there was a miscommunication with the route. Fine, stop it right there. Kept talking, and then he goes, yeah, he ran the wrong route. We had the perfect play called. He ran the wrong route. It is what it is. I was like, oh, my goodness, that guy's showing you his true colors right there. Some of the reasons why Georgia fans are not the biggest Carson Beck fans. It was amazing to just be in Athens on Saturday and hear all the chatter about Miami losing, about Carson Beck throwing 4 interceptions. And then Gunnar Stockton goes out, does what he does against a top 5 opponent, 5 total touchdowns, and just throws another log on the Carson Beck versus Gunnar Stockton fire. I want to update their current statistics for the season. Carson Beck, 1,484 yards, a 73% completion percentage, 11 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. He's only had 26 yards rushing and 1 rushing touchdown. Gunnar Stockton, 1,553 yards, 70.5% completion percentage, 10 touchdowns, only 1 interception. His quarterback rating, Jake, is 151.2. He's ran for 279 yards and 7 touchdowns. Gunnar Stockton has accounted for 17 total touchdowns. He's thrown only 1 interception. Carson Beck, 7 interceptions on the season. Not a running threat. Gunnar Stockton winning this battle, and players like these, Jake's right, wrong, or indifferent, they will always be linked together. Tough look for Carson Beck on Friday night.
Yeah, they definitely will for the end of time. Man, Gunnar's playing at a really high level. I think Carson, barring this game, has been playing at a pretty good and pretty high level. Yeah. Obviously, the press conference thing is not the best look. I think like you said, you got to shut it off at miscommunication, leave it at that, and that's it. Hey, miscommunication, thought one thing, and that wasn't the case. And hey, we'll move on. We'll try to get better. That's it.
Yes,
that's where you leave it. Hey, as quarterbacks, we take blame, we get praise. That's just part of the nature of our job. And there's just That's it. There's a lot of responsibility on us. But yeah, I mean, we get bigger checks at times. So that's just that's just the nature of the game. Carson's cashing a pretty good check down there. But yeah, it's just going to be very interesting to see these 2 storylines, these 2 guys as the season progresses. I mean, I just see a Georgia versus Miami in a college football playoff.
Somehow, some way.
The committee is just going to find
dial that up in a heartbeat. Oh, you're so right.
To get that matchup. Right. They want it, especially now that we're talking about it and we're seeing these numbers. Fan bases are talking about it. The country wants it and TV wants it. They'll find a way to cook this up for us.
There's no doubt about it. The updated AP top 25, 2 Big Ten teams at the top. Ohio State's number 1. Indiana is number 2. Texas A&M moves up to 3. Alabama is 4. Georgia's 5. Oregon 6. Georgia Tech is the 7th ranked team in the country. They're still undefeated. Ole Miss moves back to 8. Miami moves back to 9. And the Vanderbilt Commodores are a top 10 ranked team in college football. Vandy beat LSU 31-24. Is Brian Kelly in trouble? Who knows? But what a monster win by Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt. That is incredible. College game day heading to Nashville. Vandy hosts 15th ranked Missouri coming up this weekend. Alabama looks to be back in form. They laid it on Tennessee. They beat Tennessee 37-20. Tennessee was in this one, Jake, going back and forth. Yep. Joey Aguilar throws a brutal pick six right before half, a 99-yard interception return for a touchdown that extended Alabama's lead. It seemed like at that moment it was going to be tough sledding for the Vols. The place went bonkers when that play happened.
As time expired.
Scene. I know. As time expired in halftime. I mean, it was 100 yards. They called it 99 yards. It was 100 yards. He caught that ball on the goal line. Alabama looks to be for real, man.
You just don't put Bama in a corner, man. They come out swinging. There was just a lot of talk about Bama at the beginning of the year. Kalen DeBoer, he can't do it. He can't fill the shoes.
They wanted to fire him after losing the first game.
After the first game. That's what I'm saying. You have to give these coaches opportunities and chances to implement their program, get their guys in, get their coaches in. That's something people don't think about. Just because a head coach takes a job doesn't necessarily mean he gets the coaching staff that he wants to get. Some of these other guys are under contracts in other places. It takes time to get your guys right and get your program built the way you want it built. And it looks like he is on the verge of getting it built the right way, and Bama's going to Bama.
Yes, indeed. Texas A&M is the third-ranked team in the country. They won a shootout at Arkansas. That was a surprising score, 45-42. They remain undefeated. They got a tough stretch coming up here on the back end of their schedule. Missouri got a tough win at Auburn in a night game, 23-17 in 2 overtimes. Auburn's kicker missed 2 field goals that proved to be costly at the end of that one. Texas gets out of Lexington. They beat Kentucky 16-13 in overtime. And quickly, let's talk about Georgia Tech. Everybody was on Duke. This line swung even more so towards Duke's way before kickoff. They closed as like a 3.5-point favorite. Tech couldn't do anything in the first quarter. They get a 90-yard fumble recovery return for a touchdown. It was the longest in program history. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets remain undefeated, Jake. And I don't think they're going to lose a game until the Friday after Thanksgiving, Black Friday matchup against Georgia. That's going to be a big one.
Man, Tech is rolling with it right now. It's kind of a matchup. It's the best team they've had in years with a very, very easy schedule. All the things are turning that way. Tech is onto something good, and that Black Friday game is going to be circled big time. It's going to be a huge matchup. Real quick, Drew, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 teams in the SEC with just one conference loss. It's going to be chaos.
No question about it, and we will keep it all locked in right here on the Punt and Pass podcast. Hey, this episode of Punt and Pass presented to you by our awesome partners over at Solomon Brothers Jewelers. Go check out one of their 3 amazing locations. I'm telling you, their staff is so helpful. The showrooms are impeccable. Their selection is endless. They've got everything for you, no matter your price point. Go in there, tell them Punt and Pass sent you. You can get up to 10% off your jewelry purchase. It's the best. The holidays are right around the corner. Make sure that you do that. Thank you to Solomon Brothers. Online at SolomonBrothers.com, at Solomon Brothers on Instagram. And remember, Umberto Injury Law is your first call when accidents happen. Don't wait. Visit UmbertoInjuryLaw.com today. Umberto Injury Law, protecting people, fighting for justice, winning results, the best personal injury and workers' comp attorney in Atlanta. 770-888-UMBERTO. 770-888-8901, UmbertoInjuryLaw.com. Follow us at Drew Butler, at From Jake, at Punt and Pass. Jake, anything on the way up, my man?
No, man, I'm excited. College football, and it just doesn't get any better than this.
There's no doubt about it. We are going to preview this weekend's games later on this week. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we will talk to you on Thursday. See ya.
Yep.